Hello, today we are talking about formulating our first blog post for our websites. And my blog post is going to be surrounding the premise of my novel, which is a soccer player going back to school after a head injury, but she still suffers from post-concussion syndrome and anxiety and anorexia and other things that go along with post-concussion syndrome. And this book is loosely based upon my son. So I want to write about him, and I want to write about what happened so that people really understand where I'm coming from. However, I'm very cognizant of the fact that maybe my son does not want this information out there. So I called him, and he's in college now. I called him and asked his permission, and he's like, yeah, go ahead, whatever. Which is huge. I think even just huge in his healing, because just 3 months ago, he would have never wanted me to do that. In fact, in my last class, I had to take him out of my author bio, or like the synopsis of my book, because he did not want anybody to talk about it or know it was him. And now he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I think that's really awesome. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be covering a child going back to school, or a teenager going back to school after a head injury. So I'm going to post all of my headlines below, but my favorite one is The Misunderstood Teen, Post-Concussion Syndrome. I think that that's the main one, because I think that many teens that go through post-concussion syndrome have some sort of like attitude changes or personality changes, and there are different things that they do differently after their head injury. And so I think that's the one I'm going to go with. I also have When Your Child's Concussion Doesn't Go Away, Through a Mother's Tears, Mothering a Child with Post-Concussion Syndrome. That's way too dramatic. I'm not doing that one. Concussions, When They Don't Heal. When Your Support System Fails, A Concussion Journey. Again, I think that's way too dramatic. I don't want it to sound whiny. Success Despite Post-Concussion Syndrome, which I think is pretty cool. And I may actually write this later. Like, how did my son go from having a serious head injury, learning how to learning how to write again, learning how to do math from the very beginning of number lines, to getting into college successfully on scholarship. The far-reaching impacts of concussions. I think this one's important because I don't think people really understand that concussions can be serious and have lifelong, I don't know. I'm blanking out. Okay. Going back to school after a concussion. I think that one's good too. And I think that one's good for school administrators. From Soccer to Silence, Post-Concussion Syndrome. And then I have From Soccer to Darkness. I think I am definitely going to do The Misunderstood Teen, Post-Concussion Syndrome. And then maybe do some other ones later, but I don't want my blog to be completely about post-concussion syndrome. There's other things I want to write about, and I also want to write about my life. So, but this is a good activity, I think, to brainstorm for not only this blog post, but future ones. Bye.